So, Blizzcon 2019 happened pretty recently, and with it came two pretty big announcements. Those two announcements were Diablo IV and Overwatch 2. Let's take a look at them right now. So starting off with Overwatch 2, this is the one I was probably the least interested in. I used to play Overwatch a lot. I didn't ever get to like level 100, so I got the star whatever, but I did play quite a bit of it, and I do certainly remember some of it. And the cinematic trailer for Overwatch 2 did get me a little bit excited. Honestly, I think that the way they reintroduced all the characters, it was kind of clearly meant for people who had not played the game in a while. At least to my point, I see that was reintroducing the characters to you one by one, being like, oh yeah, I remember that person and that person and that person and that person. And that way, it kind of slow-rolled everything to you, starting off with Winston and Mei and then Tracer, and then it did that big character dump at the end when they were fighting the robot. Now, the structure of the trailer itself, this is the cinematic one, of course, was also pretty good. It was, just a cinematic, and no gameplay was included. That was a separate trailer. And I think it did a solid job of getting me interested in what this new story mode is going to be. Now, the gameplay trailer, that is a different story. I have a viewpoint that pretty much, I think, a sequel to a game should have enough different from the original game that it's worth buying the sequel as opposed to just playing the original game. This worked very well with, especially single-player games like going Sonic 1 to Sonic 2. You got an entirely new game there and new mechanics. But going from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, it doesn't seem like there's that much that has fully changed at all. They have actual hero progression, which that's pretty cool. They have some new maps, a new hero, and a new mode, and a story mode. But again, that all feels like something they could add to the existing game on top to add to the value of that. So I don't understand, besides of course money, why they would make an entirely new game just for these few small features. Well, okay, no, they're not small, they're pretty big changes, but these changes weren't an entirely new game, of course, besides money. But yeah. So overall, I did not care for Overwatch 2's trailer that much. I would definitely rather them add more, or try to bring back less and add more. So then we move on to Diablo IV, which that holds a better place in my mind just because of the fact that I love Diablo 3. I played tons of Diablo 3 a bunch of years ago. Even last year, I was still playing it a bit, but Diablo 4's trailer left a little to be desired, I think. Now, of course, it is just the first trailer, gameplay trailer, cinematic trailer, the game was just revealed, so I'm gonna cut it some slack. I'm gonna also cut Overwatch 2 some slack. Just cut both of them some slack there because they just got announced. There's obviously things that haven't been announced for the games yet, but with Diablo 4, it just looked like it was a lot less crazy than Diablo 3. Now that might just be because they were showing earlier levels or missions in the game rather than showing endgame stuff like the trials that you would do in Diablo 3 as the endgame, or like the adventure mode, which was added later. Now, because of Activision Blizzard's recent completely unethical business motives. I would say I am worried for both of these games just being filled to the brim with microtransactions. I know Overwatch 1 had loot boxes. They were like some of the first games to have loot boxes, I think. Or just one of the big mainstream ones that I heard about, at least. I'm sure there were ones before it. And yeah, Diablo 4 I am especially worried about. I feel like you could already, after the game was made, then you could go back and they added in a bunch of stuff afterwards, like they did with Crash Team Racing a few months ago, adding those microtransactions in after everybody had already raved about it. So I feel like something like that might happen with Diablo 4, but I'm not too entirely worried, because if the game is good enough and can stand on its own and microtransactions added afterwards, be them ethical or no, shouldn't have an entire effect on the quality of the game. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching this quick little video, and goodbye.